Greetings, family, and welcome to Live with Chatufa. It seems the problems of Emmerson Mnangagwa are far from ending as more and more issues are rising against his corrupt rule, with the Zimbabwean people even deciding that they want to stand up to demonstrate and take their rights, take their freedoms that have been stolen by this rogue regime of Emmerson Mnangagwa. Meanwhile, Zimbabwean nurses warn Mnangagwa of imminent strike action over salaries. This is yet another beginning of an implosion of ZANU-PF, because once the nurses are coming out, it means all civil servants will need to be also joining in and demand that they have better working conditions as well as salaries in Zimbabwe. This already has been an issue that has been ignored for a very, very long time, with Mnangagwa concentrating more on his own cronies and ignoring the suffering masses of the Zimbabwean people. The Zimbabwe Independent reports that Zimbabwe's public sector nurses have warned of imminent strike action unless the government responds to demands for increased salaries, with a target of at least $840 per month. Right, this is exactly what the nurses are demanding in Zimbabwe. And when we look at the life of Zimbabwean people, indeed, one can agree that the life of the Zimbabwean nurses or civil servants, teachers, whatsoever, these people, they are in serious poverty that has been afflicted by ZANU-PF. It is so surprising the amount of salaries that nurses or civil servants in Zimbabwe are getting, to the tune of $200, money that can be even enough for transport in a month of going to work and coming back home. I wonder what this Mnangagwa government thinks about this. How do they expect these people to survive? Do we ever have leaders who ever ask themselves how these people are making it with the $200 in their pockets every month? So we have reached a time where Zimbabwean people definitely need to start rising up. Zimbabweans must start to demand for their rights, for their freedoms. They must push this government of corruption, the government of thieves of Mnangagwa, to recognize the people of Zimbabwe and to do the right thing that they must do, especially in accordance to the lives of the citizens of Zimbabwe as well as their own workers. It is so surprising, the monies that we hear being squandered by Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF all over on things that are just benefiting them, useless projects that they are just doing for self-aggrandizement, instead of them, taking care of the citizens of Zimbabwe. Because what we continue to see is a neglect of, the responsibilities of government that we are seeing in this government. And yet this government is still forcing itself on the Zimbabwean people. They don't want to leave. They don't want to go. They still tell themselves that they are the rightful people to be in the leadership position in Zimbabwe. It's unfortunate that once this starts, and if the nurses would go on and strike, that means that all other sectors shall be beginning to prepare and join in. And all that we say to them is, all nurses, all civil servants in Zimbabwe, demand your rights. Don't even wait for your unions, especially unions, because the leaders of the unions have already been bought by Emmerson Mnangagwa, and you should not be expecting much from your union leaders, because where they stand right now, they are in the corner of ZANU-PF, and they will just negotiate, and then they get their own trinkets from the meetings. When they come back, they are coming just to pamper you down and to just give you promises that will never be fulfilled. So we have reached a time where, as Zimbabwean people, we now need to take what belongs to us. We now need to demand we now need to take action, both politically and, of course, those that are also employed that need better remuneration from this government that does not care about anyone. So once this happens, we are likely going to be seeing many other organizations like the teachers are also beginning to join in. And when they join in, it might be clashing with the rest of the Zimbabwean masses who are already prepared for the demonstrations that are upcoming. So it will never be business as usual for Emmerson Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF. And for them to survive what is coming, there is a big storm indeed that is coming. There's going to be too much pressure, international pressure, there's going to be local pressure, there's going to be party pressure that is coming from right inside ZANU PF. So we are still watching to see how far this is going to get to. But we shall continue to encourage our people that if you don't stand up, if you don't rise up, Zimbabwean people, and demand what is yours, this government is not willing at all to part with anything. Mnangagwa has been promising people, has been promising things, has been promising many, many other things. But when you look at all the things that he has promised, he has not fulfilled any. For every year that came, every election that came, they still ran with the idea of school fees are being cancelled. People's going to school for free, but it never happened. Not even one school embarked, including government schools. So all those promises that Mnangagwa has been giving are all lies. Especially people in ZANU-PF, they do understand what I'm talking about because many of them were cheated. The soldiers and the police, the people in the top, in the military, they were also cheated by Mnangagwa during the coup when he promised that he was going to be giving them quite some substantial amounts of money, which did not happen at the end of the day. Yesterday, Mnangagwa was at Defense Forces Heroes Day. He was at Heroes Day, and as he was speaking, he started again making some promises, and those promises we know that they are never going to be fulfilled. The housing promises, the car loans, and things like that. So that government does not have that money because all the money is diverted to ZANU-PF deals and corrupt activities. So there is nothing that is ever left that could allow these people to get loans or to get housing allowances or whatever that Mnangagwa is promising them today. But I'm sure our people are now aware that this ZANU-PF government, they are just good on propaganda. They are just good on speaking, on talking about things. But when it comes to action, to taking things into action, those things don't happen at all. And they are not ashamed. They can come back again the next time and still run with the same promise without even asking themselves, but what happened when I promised this again in the last election or in any other time that they promised? So this is what we are continuously seeing in Zimbabwe. But this teaches our people, whether they are civilians or they are workers of government, to say if we don't rise up against this government, nobody is going to live a better life. And Zimbabwe must rise. It is the time of the rising of the Zimbabwean people and take back what belongs to us and demand our rights, demand our salaries that make sense from this government because they have the money. The money is there, but unfortunately, the money is simply being put to wrong use. If once this money is put to good use, you will find that Zimbabwe can be a working country. Zimbabwe can take care of its own people. But as of now, where we are today, we are in a sorrow state. We are in a situation that is pathetic as a nation. So Zimbabweans must demand their rights from Emmerson Mnangagwa. Family, this is what it is, giving you updates of what is happening in the nation. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. We always encourage those that have not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe and also put a like. Once you put a like, the show will be appearing on your screen on YouTube most of the time, and also to many other people that are out there. We want the message to go out that Zimbabweans be ready. The mass action is coming. We want to demonstrate and demand our rights from ZANU-PF and Emmerson Mnangagwa. Subscribe to this channel, like and share if you have not done so. Also put your comment and tell us what you think about the plans of the NESIs in Zimbabwe.